Good evening, everybody. How are you? Can you please let me know if you can hear me clearly? Just type it in the chat box if you can.
I can hear you. Hi, good morning.
Hey, Deng, how are you?
Good. How's
Really,
everything?
everything is good. Looking forward to this. I'm just going to briefly introduce who we are and what we have to offer to the students, and then I'll leave the floor to you. Sounds good?
Sounds awesome. Let's do it.
Brilliant. Okay. Someone is streaming still. I think that yeah. Okay. Dang, can you mute yourself for a while? I think you're opening Facebook or it's available somewhere, or I think that would be me. I think. Give me a second. Yep, that was what happened. Okay, so to begin, I'd like to introduce who we are and what we do. We are Education USA. We're a network of advisors associated with the State Department in the US to spread information on higher education in the USA. And what we do across the year is multiple information sessions like the one we're having today to present certain types of information to the students. These types of information are viewed as certain events regarding each topic that are available on our Facebook page. And this usually happens all across the world. We're present in around 130 countries and 470 centers worldwide. So we're a vast network of advisors, and you have three of them in Egypt. You have myself, Walid Tarabulsi, and Mrs. Yasmin Roueni in Cairo. And you have in Alexandria, Ms. Heba Abu Khalifa as well, if you are interested in following up with someone around Alexandria or around the Delta area. She would be very happy to help you. And today we're going to be talking about graduate applications and having one of our colleagues from the University of Wyoming help us with this presentation today regarding the topics. Please, I'll leave it to you then if you would like them to have questions during the session or later on by the end. That's totally you. I'm done.
Thank you, Walid.
You're absolutely welcome.
Fantastic. Well, I wanted to say thank you to Education USA, Amid East, and Amid East for having us today. We're delighted to give this presentation to future Egyptian students. As you can see, I'm in my home right now. We're still working from home, but come August 24th, we'll all be back on campus. So we are resuming classes as usual. That is face-to-face and also hybrid courses. So that's good information to know. Today I'll be presenting. Oh, go ahead, Walid.
Nope, sorry. Just happy to hear that people are back on campus, and since I'm working at home too, I'm looking forward to seeing people going back to work regularly. You know.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been a long 4 or 5 months for us.
It has been.
Yeah, so we'll still be going in the process. It'll be staggered for now, but student campus will be up and running. And then, so we're investing 46 million into the campus, into making sure that campus is safe for students, making sure that students can social distance amongst themselves, and also for faculty and staff as well. So that's great news for us. We want to make sure that we're able to conduct classes and also be safe at the same time. So Wyoming right now is one of the most bottom states with the least number of COVID cases in the country right now. I think the most bottom is Alaska, and then Wyoming's right on top of that. So with that said, we're also a great location. We're just 2 hours away from Denver. So yeah, we're a state university, but also we have access to the city. So let me start with my presentation today. Is everyone ready? All good?
All good. Go ahead.
All right. Okay. So just a little bit of who I am and what I do at the University of Wyoming. I'm Daing Nasir, the Assistant Director at the Office of International Students and Scholars. I work primarily with admissions in terms of recruitment at the undergraduate level, the graduate level, and also with our partnerships around the world. So Education USA and Mid-East, if you're looking for partners in the US to work with, I'd be happy to work with you on that. We are looking to expand our partnerships worldwide to make sure that students and faculty have the opportunity to explore new activities, academic activities with us. So today we are going to talk about graduate application tips, okay? So I'm actually excited. I had approached Mid-East Education USA Egypt a month ago, thanks to Walid's team and Hiba and everyone for mediating this, because we're actually receiving a few graduate Egyptian students in the fall. So we're very excited with that, but the only obstacle is right now is with the visa. But great news is coming up from Homeland Security that offices are opening up again for visas. So that's good. So my students are getting their appointments in, and hopefully they'll be here, inshallah, for the fall. So I'm excited to meet with them here in Wyoming. So what I've typically discussed with my students in the past is, when you're thinking about graduate school, you want to think about the whole holistic picture, because you're almost at the end of your educational experience, and not only building the foundations of your career, but getting yourself to that next level, either with your company or even as an individual, or whatever you want to do with life. It's always, this degree is supposed to take you to the next level in your career and in your life. So you want to make sure that the program that you go into is not a good fit. It's not only a good fit for you, but also will elevate you in so many other ways in your life as well. So that brings me to my first point, which what I wanted to talk about is choose the right major / program, okay? So it doesn't mean that at the undergraduate level that because you were a business major, you have to do an MBA. If you're interested in that, that's great. But I also know successful leaders in various fields that have done communication led undergraduate and then do an MBA, or do an engineering degree at the undergraduate level and then do an MBA, or do a business degree at the undergraduate level and then do an engineering management program in their graduate program. So it just depends on what you want to do. And what I tell students is, ask yourself what really interests you at this point in life. Different from the undergrad level, you have people telling you what to do. You have your parents, you have advisors on campus that kind of steer you into what you're supposed to do. And then your scholarship or the people that are funding your program, they tell you what to do because they know that you're great at math and sciences or music and arts. So they tell you, you have to do this. At the graduate level, you want to make sure that that program is a good fit for you. So with that said, you want to research faculty, okay? Once you've found a program that fits you, that you feel like, these are courses that I want to take in my at the graduate level, you also want to research faculty, okay, guys? Research the teachers that will be teaching you throughout the 2 years in your grad program, or maybe for your PhD, for the 5 years in your PhD program. You want to make sure it's people that you would be comfortable with. And with that said, it's not only it's in terms of their academic achievements. Those are the people that you want to engage with, that you want to collaborate with, that you want to write with, and have scholarly conversations with. So these are the people that you want to research while you're looking for a program in the US. There are a lot of experts in various very specific fields. So you want to make sure that you are engaging with the specific professor that you're looking for. For an example, you want to talk to them if you're looking for a graduate program in electrical engineering, for example. which field in electrical engineering? Are you looking for infrastructure, or are you looking into power? If you're looking into power, you want to make sure that you have that you look for a professor that is well versed and maybe wrote his thesis in power, and did his research and did scholarly presentations in power. So that's just an example of what I tell my students, and typically they will do that and be successful in their search for a graduate program. I know that in my experience, when I went to grad school, that's what I did as well. I wanted to go into a program that was hands-on in my field, which was higher education. So I wanted to search for a program where I could interact with students and give them advice and lead them into the college environment that they're looking for. So these are some of the things that you want to think about. You always want to think about the next steps. Okay, so when I apply for this graduate program, what am I going to do in that program? Am I going to be happy? Are my questions going to be answered by people in the program? And then when I graduate, where can I bring this degree, whether it's from the University of Wyoming or from another institution? You want to see that value in that degree once you graduate. So kind of think outside the box and thinking ahead in 2, 3 years or 5 years ahead, where you want to bring that degree towards, okay? Number 3, I wanted to talk about research, the campus accreditation, location, and activities for your family, okay? So first I wanted to talk about accreditation. Accreditation means that it's certified by nationally or regionally by a board in the US. Like for engineering, that would be ABAT. For business, it will be AACSB. So those are some of the examples of the accreditations that we have for our 2 biggest schools here on campus, and also for other institutions as well. So with that said, accreditation is really, really important, because when I talk about you being able to elevate yourself to the next level, someone along the line might question your degree and ask, did this program that you attended at the University of Wyoming, is it AACSB accredited? And then you can say, my master's or PhD, it was accredited by AACSB. It is an AACSB accredited school. So it is, just for your information, AACSB is the highest accreditation that a business school can get. So it goes through rigorous forms of evaluations. So once it gets it, it's something that students really value, and also employers value in the field. So you want to make sure that you research the program and the value that it's bringing to the table for you as well, okay? Another thing that I tell students that is very, very important is the location of the institution, okay? Because as I previously mentioned, as a graduate student, you want to be happy. You know, you're at that point in your life where you're ready for the next step. And when you enjoy your graduate program, you want to be able to happy and be yourself, and also contribute to your community as well. Whether it's on campus, or it's at church, or at the mosque, or even within the city community, you know, you want to make sure it's somewhere that it's welcoming for you. And that's what I always tell my students, is that you want to make sure that that location has everything that you're looking for. So like some people will ask, does Laramie, Wyoming, you know, I want to go overseas and do my master's in education, but it's my first time studying overseas, and I want to experience the 4 seasons. So I tell students, you know, in Wyoming we have the 4 seasons and more. You know, we have beautiful summers, the mountains, and snow as well in the winter time. But the best thing about Wyoming is we're high up in the mountains, that it snows, but it's also not too cold as well. You know, because other places, it's cold, but it doesn't snow. So it just depends on what you want and what you're looking for and what suits your family for the most part. So, which brings me to my next point, is activities for your family. You want to make sure that if you have a family and you're bringing them over to the US, that it's a family-friendly community. It's safety is important. Okay, I highly encourage students to to research where they're going to in the US. Here in Laramie, we have almost zero to little crime here in the city. I moved here from the city of Houston, Texas, and then I noticed something, that my neighbors weren't locking their door. They were just leaving their doors and going out of their apartments. So, and then later on they would tell me, you know, I don't lock my door, but so if anything happens, you can just, if I need you to leave something in my apartment, you can just put it in there. So that was kind of an adjustment for me, but also a sense of relief that I can tell this to you guys, that I can tell this to my students when I meet you virtually, or I meet you on campus, or I meet you overseas, that I can tell you this valuable information, because it's definitely not what you see on the news. And on TV about the US, okay? Next, I wanted to talk about contact faculty and department graduate program coordinator, okay? So this is very, very crucial in the first steps of your application, is contact the faculty and department graduate program coordinator. So that information will be in the graduate section in the department. So if you go to the department's website under the university's website, there's a contact for the graduate department coordinator. Let's say you wanted to go for a master's in music. So it will enlist there that the graduate coordinator for music will be Mr. or Miss whoever. So you want to make sure that you build that connection firsthand. What I would encourage you to do is email that address, and also ask questions, and ask questions nicely in terms of introducing yourself, and then asking, you know, I was telling them that you're interested in this program. I'm a graduate from XYZ University, and with a GPA of this, I was, for me, this is what I tell students on a personal level, is introduce yourself, because for the most part, for us working at the universities, we're here because we love working with students. So we want to get to know you. So introduce yourself. Tell us your name. Tell us your background, and where you're at within your life and your career, and where you see yourself. Sometimes you will get a short response, because that graduate coordinator is super busy doing other things as well. But sometimes you can get a graduate coordinator that's invested in getting you here from day one. So it just really depends. But I would say do it at this level in your career. I think you are able to express your intentions in taking the next steps in your education, because we understand that this is a huge investment on your end in coming to the US and pursuing a graduate pursuing graduate studies. So contact that faculty, introduce yourself, and then tell them about your intentions, okay? Once you've done that, and then they will respond back, and then follow up with the questions. And before I go into funding, I just want to give this tip real quick. And I know our Egyptian students are very courteous, and they're very super intelligent people to work with. But I also wanted to give this tip, and I give this tip to everyone. Always spell check your emails. That will give the first impression to future professors that might be reading your emails as well, because graduate coordinators might also forward that email and say, hey, Dr. X, you know, I have this student that's interested. You know, are you able to have one more spot for him? Because, you know, graduate courses are smaller, and which also brings me to the next point. You also want to talk about funding, okay? So funding at the graduate level is a little bit different for undergraduate students. For undergraduate students may come in with scholarships that are funded by the government agencies, or an international agency, but at the graduate level, it's a little bit different. Departments actually provide funding towards graduate students. So you want to have that conversation early on, as early as possible, because how departments work in the US at US institutions is we have a very strict budget, and that budget is always allocated very, very, very fast. So if you know that you want to do this program and you come in with a high GPA and good credentials, and you want to you want to secure funding, ask that question. It doesn't hurt to ask. Even if they don't have money, it doesn't mean they don't have 100% funding. They can go at 75% or 50% or even 25%. Funding is funding. So any sort of dollars that you can hash away towards your tuition and your expenses and your daily expenses is still funding towards your graduate program. So, and then you'll be able to make that decision. Do I really want to pursue this program? Because in the offer letter will stipulate this amount. So let's say for student Muhammad applying for geology, approved for funding for 100% funding for $18,000 a year at the master's level or at the PhD level. We're offering you this together with your tuition paid. Would you accept? So all this information will be given in the offer letter. So you want to make sure that you have that conversation up front, because all these students that are successful with these kind of admission letters, they have those conversations up front, because building relationships is key, guys. You want to make sure that you build relationships at the forefront, because that's what I've seen from successful Egyptian students that have applied to the University of Wyoming with funding, is that they build relationships. They introduce themselves. They talk about projects that they want to work on with that professor. And also professors will also talk about their projects on the website and all that. So you want to approach them and tell them, hey, you know what, Dr. Smith, I'm not only interested in the field that you're researching right now, but also my undergraduate thesis, I did a summary on that. So I want to be able to expand on that and contribute to your research and your scholarly findings as well. So with that said, I wanted to go to my next point, which is research for opportunities. Okay, so I skipped a point just now. I went to ask the departments for assistance for funding, but also research for opportunities for funding. So apart from departmental fundings, there are also fundings, worldwide fundings from Fulbright. I know maybe I think if I'm not, I think Amid East has scholarships. And Walid, can you correct me if I'm wrong at the graduate level?
I'm sorry, come again. I didn't quite get it.
Does Amid East have scholarships for graduate students at the graduate level?
Look, so for Amid East, we do not offer scholarships, but we have scholarships that we administer that are given by other entities. So, for example, we have the Unsi Sawiris Scholarship Program. It's done through the Orascom Construction Company, and it offers admission into a variety of top universities in the US. So there's that. And it doesn't usually send like a huge number of students per year, but at least if there is a chance that you can be one of 5, then I would say go for it.
Exactly. And that's what I wanted to tell students is it doesn't hurt to inquire and even apply for those applications. I remember that when I was a graduate student, before I was applying, I had applied to a ton of scholarships as well. So we want to make sure that you exhaust all options at the graduate level. When I remember, Walid, I had actually visited the Amid East office in Washington, D.C. 7 years ago. And I remember what you just mentioned, that all the little programs that you have in terms of administering scholarships. So that's really fantastic. So that's one outlet that students might want to explore in terms of looking for funding for their graduate.
I may add something as well, Dane. When we talk to students regarding funding in general for graduate studies, we always encourage them to look through the universities themselves, because some are not aware that the university itself offers a variety of financial aid to students under different names, whether it's a position to work in, a certain assistantship position that you can take on, a lot of options. But it just, we need to stress or emphasize on the importance of the university's website itself, how to research, guys.
Exactly.
And I'm talking to
Exactly.
attendees here. We're going through a Fulbright phase currently, where the applications are nearing their end. And I think afterwards, people are going to start looking for the universities and seeing what I'm telling them exactly. It's not all scholarship giving entities. It's not all Fulbright. It's not all Chevening. It's not all that. The university itself cares about the students a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's exactly right, students. So you want to listen to Walid in that. So that's why I jumped the gun a little bit, Walid, a little bit about our institution and what I've learned about University of Wyoming is a little bit different. So we have a lot of funding for graduate students. So that's why I talked about funding at the university level first, and then I talked about scholarships that other agencies that have to offer. So if you're thinking about coming to Wyoming, what I can tell you is that we have a lot of funding. So contact the departments for sure, and they will respond to you where they're at with their funding, because we're always looking for students to work either as teaching assistants or research assistants or positions that they might be able to offer at the department level. So you want to make sure that you've explored all avenues so before you make that final decision. Okay. All right. So after you've researched funding opportunities, so you kind of know the in and outs of whether you qualify for certain financial aid, if an offer is made towards you, if this even is something that you want to do, you know. So those are some of the things you want to think about. So after that, you want to research admission requirements. Okay, guys. So this is very, very fundamental. A lot of schools will have U.S. schools, I can say in general, have a higher rigor in terms of admission requirements, but it's worth it. It's really, really worth it, because that degree takes you places. It's really an amazing degree to have a graduate degree from the U.S. It's something that can take you beyond borders in terms of your career. So that's something you want to think about. And what I also encourage students is like, don't be discouraged by the admission requirements. Take the next step in having that conversation with a graduate program coordinator. First, you want to ask, you know, I have this great career. I'm not 5 years after my undergrad. I've had this great career. I have great grades from my undergrad. You know, it doesn't hurt to ask for a waiver for a GMAT or a GRE. They can come back and say no, and it's fine. And then you can sit for that GRE and then submit scores and then have that conversation again. I've seen that happen, and this is why I put it as a tips for students. It's not, I'm not telling you to do this, and we provide it as a guideline for students, you know, because we want to make sure that students have that relationship with graduate coordinators so that they have those conversations. So have that conversation on admission requirements. Don't be scared. I know it's a lot of anxiety on your end at the application level when you see, you know, 10 tasks to be done, and then, but you still want that degree and move ahead in life. So have that conversation, ask that question. It doesn't hurt to ask, because it's better to ask than to find out later on that, you know, you could have had that conversation in the past, because I've had those reservations and I've heard that other colleagues, you know, say that as well. So we encourage our students to always it that conversation regarding admission requirements. Okay, so submit your scores and then go back to the coordinator and talk about it with them again. For example, okay, so for an example, if you don't meet the English requirements, English proficiency requirements for certain departments, what they can do is they can give you conditional admissions and ask you to take some courses at our English Language Institute. So those are some of the examples that we work with in terms of getting students here. Okay. All right. So those are some of my tips. Do you guys have any questions so far?
I took the liberty of answering some of the questions on the
Oh,
chat
okay.
box.
I'm looking at the questions. That's a lot. Okay. I'd be happy to answer these questions individually for sure. I can send more detailed answers in an email to all these students if you'd like, Waleed. It'd be my honor and pleasure to interact with the students. So
Can they send you their email addresses through the chat box? We do not collect
absolutely.
attendees data, unfortunately.
Yes, for sure. So, Waleed, are you okay with these tips? And then I'm going to go towards the graduate application process and then kind of like give them some tips on there as well.
Sure. Do you want to answer the questions now or leave it later till the end?
Let me see some of the questions that I know first. Okay, hold on. My chat box disappeared, Waleed. I'm so sorry about this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to answer the questions later. Is that okay? Or can you ask me? Can you read one of the questions to me, Waleed?
I definitely can, but I was just saying that this might be better until the end because people are asking in general about what
Got
the
it.
university
Okay.
has in terms of preferences, whether you focus on the academics or the activities, community service.
I see it now. Okay. Cool. So you had a question. What type of school is this? Is it heavily research focused on activities in terms of research, or is that your question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So at the graduate level, we're like I said, because we're employing a lot of graduate students in terms of doing research and doing all the work in terms of helping professors out with their funding and all that. So we're big on the research. We are the flagship institution of the state. So that means we are basically the superstars of the state because we're the only university in the state. Okay. So there's only one big university in the state.
Uh-huh.
So all the funding and in terms and all eyes are on UW. So if you do something at UW, it's a big deal in the state. So it is an achievement. So I'm very proud of our North African and Middle Eastern community here. They've built a name for themselves here, especially those folks in petroleum engineering and geology. They've really established themselves, and not only established themselves in creating a name in their field at the university, but also nationally and internationally as well. So
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. We can move on with the presentation, and we'll come back to the questions because I think some of the questions could be better answered through the rest of the presentation.
No problem. Okay. So the graduate application process, if you're thinking about attending an institution in the US, typically students will have to choose a graduate program first. And at this institution, we have over 100 graduate degree programs. So that is basically normal of state institutions all around the country. Okay, guys? So an important thing here is, so things that you want to look at while you research a graduate program again is you look at the rigor of high quality of education and depth of research. Okay, so that is very, very important. It's basically it's what graduate program suits you and what you're looking for. Okay, I keep on reiterating that because we understand that students come in at the graduate level intending to elevate themselves to the next level in their career. So always look for a program that you know that can take you forward in life. Okay. Also, each graduate program has different requirements and deadlines, okay? So, and I put our website here, but also for any other institution, every graduate program is different. I wanted to also make an announcement here that just like our undergraduate, at the undergraduate level, for undergraduate students that are coming in, we're giving them free deferrals. So let's say you didn't make your visa appointment for this semester and you couldn't make it to Wyoming, we do a free deferral for next year, for next semester, and so forth. So we're thinking about doing that at the graduate level. So keep in touch with me or your graduate department. If you're thinking about coming to the University of Wyoming, we will be able to provide you with that information. And also for admitted students and also for future students, we are also exploring the idea of rolling admissions. So that means you can come in, you don't have to come in at the fall. You can come in at the spring and the summer as well, or summer too. It just depends, because we want to be flexible with students, because we understand that at the graduate level, you're coming in with your family, you may be leaving a job, you're trying to get into a new lease here in Laramie. So we want to be able to be accommodating to students in those terms. So we're thinking about rolling admissions, so keep in touch with us. If you're looking for, let's say, a PhD program in the sciences that says fall admission only, sometimes that website isn't updated. That's why I encourage students, have conversations with the grad coordinator in that department, or even contact the international office. There will always be someone like me in the international office at various institutions all over the US that you can talk to and ask questions. So ask those questions. It never hurts to ask, okay? So after student has connected with the department, they may apply online, okay? So all applications are mostly online, I can say, for institutions in the US. All the institutions that I've worked with in the US, we've accepted applications online, okay? So do that, submit all your documents. All international students must provide proof of English proficiency and financial support, okay? So that's what we state on our website for graduate applicants. But for financial support, if you're approved for funding from your department, so we will make your I-20, your immigration documents, based off the financial support given by your department. Okay. So English proficiency minimum is 76 IBT or 6.5 IELTS. That's a general statement for all graduate programs, but again, departments may change this based on guys, it just changes every year based on the volume of students that come in. So if 100 students are applying and they're all top students, they're going to increase the academic requirements. If they have a new project coming in and they require 3 new students specifically that know how to use these machines, and your email came in at perfect timing, they'll be able to help you out with that as well. So it all depends. So it all depends on when you begin that communication with the department. So I highly encourage you to do that. Okay. All right. So deadlines vary by departments and college. Okay. So something that you want to be as much as I want to say that we want to be flexible, that the University of Wyoming is very flexible in working with students, but sometimes you want to go to another institution that doesn't have all these requirements, but you really want to go to that university because you want to. There are whatever reasons you might have, so you still want to make sure that you abide by the deadlines. So and deadlines will vary by department and college, and even professors might want to hear from you but as soon as possible, because they need to secure certain funding, because they have in their minds they already have a timeline, but all this information is not out on the website and it's not advertised. It's your communication with them. So again, it's back to communication. Have those conversations with them, because they have every institution is different, and every department has different deadlines. Okay. And with that, I think I'm done with my presentation to college. Can we take questions now?
Dang, I'm sorry. Either your connection or mine is unstable. Can you hear me?
That's okay. I finished my presentation. I think I touched everything. I hope I did, but I'll be happy to answer more questions.
You did brilliant. Now the connection is back. Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Dane. Thank you so much. I was saying that, but it couldn't go through. Thank you for the presentation. I think yes, we've covered everything that is needed to know in general about how to research the graduate options at a university, and having Wyoming as the example of that was really good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions, Walid, if you or your team has for us.
Do you guys have any questions? Please type them in the chat box. I need to go check Facebook real quick because we're streaming on Facebook as well.
Okay.
To see if there are any questions over there. Okay. Dang, have you shared your contact details with the attendees? Maybe they would like to send you a question. Is that
let me share it here in the chat with everyone. Dang Nasir, dnasir at uyo.edu. Okay.
Okay. And Ahmed was not familiar with the idea of a GRE waiver.
Okay.
So I was saying that the waiver is simply you can ask the university to remove one of the prerequisites for the admission, which is either like the TOEFL or the GRE, because you have proved yourself in another method. Maybe your work experience, maybe you have extensive studies that can cover that, maybe. So that's just for the GRE and the TOEFL, maybe a standardized test that can be substituted with something else. But that does not mean you can ask for a waiver or for them to remove the GPA requirement, for example. No, it's just for the standardized tests or general requirements that are fulfilled in any way on your application, whether by submitting the test scores that they've asked or another method.
Exactly, and then I want to piggyback off what you just said. So as an institution, we cannot take that requirement out because it is and Walid, you know this. These requirements are set forth by university standards and accreditation and all that. Okay. So we have to have that out there. But again, like I said, departments may have certain projects at different times, and all these are happening all the time, guys. So you want to make sure you ask the graduate coordinator. I have 5 to 10 years worth of experience in the field. I've been an engineer for 10 years. I've been a teacher for 10 years, or 2 years or 5 years, whatever you have, whatever you can bring to the table. Bring that to the table, you guys. Have those conversations with your graduate coordinators and see if that is something that they can waive. Okay, and it doesn't hurt to ask, because the worst is they will say no, and then you will have to ask yourself if this is something you want to do, and if it is, and you do the test, and if it still doesn't meet the requirement, you can go back and talk to them again and tell them, I have this course, I did this for you. Will you accept this course? So I'm telling you this because I've seen things happen. I've seen magic happen. for students because they bring other things to the table as well, in terms of, like you said, great GPA, good TOEFL scores or IELTS. So it's the GRE/GMAT is always a big thing in admissions for students. So what I encourage students is to do it at that level is just have those conversations. It doesn't hurt to ask, and it's actually a big tip actually, because we understand that students have options to go to other schools. So don't think that we don't value that. We really do. So ask that question, because we can't offer that to you. We can't advertise that to you on the website or put it in the application form. We can't do that. But what we can do is it's situational. It's based on circumstances during that semester. If
and
that
you just
helps.
need to ask. You just need to ask and display your interest, and then see what comes out of it.
Exactly. Ask that question, because if anything, departments they want to know that you're on top of that. You're determined. We want determined students that want to come here. So if we see that you're asking that question, you're asking for this, and you're asking questions on funding, we know it shows us that you're determined to be here. And and when you bring to the table all these other things in life that you've achieved, it paints the whole picture for us and what type of student you'll be here at the University of Wyoming. So
True.
That's why I think we hire the best graduate students, because those students always tell us their full story. So
Good to know.
absolutely. Yeah.
Zainab is asking two questions. One, for a website where they can filter universities. There are a lot of universities that could be offering the same major, and they're asking about a website for that. We usually give an advice to use Peterson's, because they have a certain search engine that you can use to narrow down the options that you have for the universities, and to know which universities offer the major that you are interested in when you research it. For the other question regarding how to apply or equivalent websites to the Common App, but for the graduate students, I think that each university in that case would have its own system. I know that maybe they could have a direct application through the website portal, or any other ways. You wouldn't know. What do you guys offer, Dane?
Yeah, we are a Common App school. Yes, so you can do that at our
graduate level, or the graduate level as well.
And at the undergraduate level. So at the graduate level, I would tell you guys to apply directly at our website. So
okay, that's mostly what I know at the graduate level. Are there any other ways? Like, are there any like famous or big websites that have a collection of universities that they can apply through?
I do. We have actually my Egyptian students that are coming in. They're coming in through IDP. So IDP is helping them out. So IDP has this website called hotcourses.com. So Hot Courses will kind of like have that information out there as well. So I have advisors in Alexandria and also in Cairo that are helping me out with that as well. So we have a good relationship with Egypt. We want to give as much information out there as well, as much as we can, so that we can help you guys. Let me give that website, if that's okay with you, Walid.
Yeah, and they cannot see your email on the chat box somehow for some reason.
Oh, no?
Yeah.
Okay, so, of course.
I would think that you have sent it privately to someone.
Oh, did I? Okay, so,
it just happens automatically on Zoom. Whenever someone sends a private message,
right?
Write it down thinking that it's for the entire chat. Okay. Hadil is asking who to contact first, the program coordinator or the professor? I would think that this is for a research message.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. I would say contact both at the same time. It doesn't hurt. Just while you're on your computer and you're thinking about it, just send that email to both of them. It doesn't hurt, because what I know of, if you're interested in a professor, always think that that professor has 10 other projects that he's working on, and he's also teaching he or she is also teaching at the same time. So they are constantly running around in circles. So when you send that email, it might get buried. So send that email, still send that email, and also email the graduate coordinator as well. So you know you've hit it left and right, you know? So if, in the event that they meet, and also a little insight, what graduate coordinators do is they also have meetings with professors that teach graduate level courses. So if your name is in their email, they will have those conversations. They will say, hey, you know, Zainab or Ahmad or Farah is interested in XYZ. We have this space, we have this funding, we have this extra spot for them. Can we make this happen for one of them? Who you know, it's always a jigsaw puzzle in terms of managing graduate students, because we want to make sure that we're giving you the best educational experience based off of what you're looking for. So I hope that helps.
I hope that answers your question. Wad is asking, is finding a possible supervisor a must in a PhD application? I think that's a rather obvious question, but we can elaborate a little bit about it.
Yeah, so yes, a supervisor is very fundamental at the PhD level. We highly encourage you to do that, because I've personally, from a previous experience, I've advised graduate level students for a corporation, for a private corporation in the Middle East. And in my experience in working specifically with graduate students, is at the PhD level, you want to make sure that you have chemistry with each other. So that's why, if you notice in my presentation, is communication is gold. Communication is everything, because communication from the get-go, before the application, gives you an impression if you want to work with this person or not, and it will show you as a student if that person is invested in you or not. So even if they don't do that, it doesn't mean anything. So it's for you to make that decision, but it gives you some sort of idea, because at the PhD level, it's very, very intense. So you have to have teamwork with your supervisor in making sure that, you know, goals are set and clear, and expectations are set, and you set boundaries in terms of what is due when, and what their expectations are met, and also that you can collaborate together as scholars in the field. So absolutely, it is very, very fundamental for a PhD degree. Yes.
Okay.
So Abdul Hakim, I do I do want to answer your question. Yes, UW has assistantships at the university. So research your department and your program, and then there will always be a section for graduate students. So go into there, and if you can't find it, email me and I'll help you out. Okay.
Okay, I can take the next one, take it off of you. It's really easy. If I'm interested in the work of two professors, can I ask the coordinator to recommend one of them, as I may know who has a vacancy? I would think take the opportunity and communicate with both. You might not know what would happen. You just can take the chance. Of course, it's good to try to inquire if a certain professor has a vacancy, but like regarding research vacancies, I think that would be advertised on the university's website rather than having to communicate with a certain professor. Am I correct, Dane?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. Yeah.
Brilliant. So yeah, you can communicate with both and then see what comes out of it.
Exactly. Communication is everything, guys. At this level, at the undergraduate level, there's not much conversation going on in terms of the admission. It's very clear cut. It's either your high school grades will take you to the next level, or another institution will take you based off your achievements. But at the graduate level, it's more focused on you and what you want to do and where you want to take that degree. So always think about you first, and then approach the university. That's what I can say. So. All right. So for Zainab, your question regarding work experience, I would say absolutely, it is important. But I also know students that are fresh out of college as well, and a lot of students nowadays, they coming out from the undergraduate level, I wouldn't s- I would say that they are 100% ready for graduate studies in terms of their experiences, because students these days are different from students 10, 20 years ago. Students are graduating with internships and experiences, and they've worked, they might already have working experience, or they have other study abroad experience while they were study abroad or exchange program experience while they were an undergrad. So yeah, absolutely. You want to tell that to your grad department, because what I can tell you is that departments are also looking for international experience as well, because I know a lot of departments are looking to internationalize themselves. So if you come in with that approach, that is a huge asset for you and also for them as well. So yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, I think we've covered all the questions. Does anybody have anything to add? Any questions? I think you can see Dane's contact details right now. If you're interested in University of Wyoming, or you have a certain question that you want to forward, please go ahead. And yeah, okay, there's one. Okay, Ahmed Abdul Hakim. Should I contact the director of the engineering graduate program or the major? I'm not quite sure I understand that question. Director of the engineering graduate program or the major? Okay, so you're talking either about a professor or the dean of the or I don't know. Okay, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be
Yeah.
talking.
No, not the dean of graduate studies. The coordinator of graduate programs. So I'm going to write this here.
I would think there are many people that they can communicate. It differs the naming, whether it's
exactly
officer or marketing specialist or someone, or a graduate program coordinator or someone related to the faculty itself. So you just need to look through the website and go through the directory and see who you need to communicate with, whether a professor or someone from the staff.
Exactly. And there, like I said in my presentation, there's all those people, but they're also busy with their academic work at the school, respective schools. So there's also people like me at the international office that will mediate the process as well. So if you're thinking of going to the University of Wyoming, or if you're thinking about going to another institution as well, always, it doesn't hurt to email the international office. We are definitely here to help you answer those questions. Okay,
True,
guys?
true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Dane.
Yeah.
Right, that was really lovely. Thank you again for your time today and your participation. I look forward to much more work during the rest of the year. I see the potential with the University of Wyoming.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. Hopefully next time you'll see me in my office. Yeah, guys?
Hopefully, the next time you see us, it will be at our office.
Hopefully, inshallah. Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully. All right.
All right.
Thank you again, and please.
Thank you, students. Thank you,
Questions to Ming and to ourselves, and we will see you on another day.
Assalamu. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good evening, everyone. Take care.
Bye.